Hello and welcome back to the European Championships 2018. We're here in round 5. It's only 4 o'clock.
Wow, you've lost track of time already.
Yeah,
We've got a long day ahead of us. We're only halfway through day 1 of this tournament.
I always
8 rounds today. Yeah, that's because we're having so much fun. You say time flies, and then it's 2 a.m. and you're wondering, maybe I should have went to bed.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So we've actually got some paperwork. So we've actually got some really cool stats for you this time. So as you may have known from some of our previous events, we've been able to tell you what deck everyone's playing. Luke's actually now written a program so we can now look at exactly what the win rate across all the decks are versus every other archetype, because we already have that data.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to give you some more in-depth detail. So when your friend says, oh, what's your win rate against Goku? And he goes, I don't know, like 65%. You can call him out on it, because we'll actually know by the end of this tournament exactly what the win percentage is between decks X and deck Y.
Yeah, so to explain it a little bit more, the way that it works is take all the current tournament that's happening just behind you guys back there, and it looks at all of the matchups. It completely ignores mirror matches because
they're 50-50. It's a dead stat. You can always assume that in a mirror somebody of the same deck won.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a silly stat to try and include. But we can look at the 2 specific decks that we have on the feature match table this round, and then assess those against all of the matches that have happened between those 2 archetypes during the tournament already. So, without further ado,
let's explain. So, our matchup this time is Marcus Bäckström.
Bäckström from Sweden.
And he's playing the Burning Abyss Sekka's Dante's Cat, as it was popularized by Tom Rose. So, that's Burning Abyss with Light of Sekka. And he's going to be facing off against Ivailo Ivanov from Bulgaria, who's playing the Sky Striker Trickstar. And we can actually tell you, based on the number of matches it's happened so far, that this match currently favors the Trickstar, but by how much?
Yeah, only by 2.5%.
How many times have these decks faced off during the tournament?
65 times. So there's been 4 draws, and then it's 32 to 29. So I discount draws when it comes to the win ratio.
Pretty neck and neck, which is kind of interesting, because the way that Tom, when he built this deck, was to destroy the Sky Striker matchup.
Yeah,
and yet
exactly.
It's only 50-50 here. So the question is, have the Sky Striker players learned, or are all the Burning Abyss players just playing it wrong? I guess we'll let Tom judge that.
Yeah, we can let him talk about that. So it's interesting to take a look if his deck's any different to what Tom's looks like, but I'm sure that Tom will be able to do that far better than we will.
I think we should just let the guys on the other desk give the details, the differences between the decks, because Tom's going to be able to explain this much better than we are.
Yeah, exactly. So, but first, before we move over to the table, let's talk about the individual win rates of the players as well.
Yes, exactly.
So Marcus Bäckström from Sweden has played in his in the national championships in Prague, and in the Mega Regional in Prague, and in the Prague main event. He's got just over a 50% win rate, 53 to be exact. So again, pretty good. That's a good win rate.
It's what the system's trying to do. It's not probably indicates you haven't any stellar finishes, but it's
a small number of tournaments as well, so it's
like 3
not
tournaments.
really representative of his win rate. And Ivailo here is on 62, so that's pretty good as well. And he's played in quite a number of tournaments, 10 tournaments, so that's a bit more representative of...
What we can see then is Ivailo has not only a 2% deck advantage based on what we've seen in the rest of the field. That will change a lot. It'll be interesting to see how those percentages changes as the players that are succeeding are going up and up, and the matches get harder and harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Marcus is on the back foot on both fronts, essentially. The deck percentage from the game and also from playing percentage.
Yeah, exactly. But you never know. I mean, he's I think he's EXO still currently, so that means that he's doing pretty well so far.
They're having a good day, but I think we are holding up the tournament long enough now, my friend. So we are going to go over to our commentators, Oliver Gurman and Tom Rose, to bring you the play-by-play. Stay with us.
Yeah, welcome guys to the feature match for round number 5. As always, we got a couple of corrections for you. Both of these guys are currently 3-1, and we can actually take a look at the player match history of Ivailo Ivanov from Bulgaria. Let's bring that up for you guys. Here you can see he actually went up against Ido Marcus in round number 1. That was one of the matches that we considered featuring even. Sky Striker Trickstar, he beat it there. Then he went against Sky Striker Pure, piloted by Etienne Alessina. He beat Luke Forshaw with Goki. And then last round he suffered his first loss at the hands of Daniel Mörbach from Germany, also with Sky Striker Trickstar. So lots and lots of opponents that were going with this deck.
Yes, but on the other side, we see Marcus has had less variation in his opposition. He's been playing against mostly Sky Striker Trickstar today. I think we had the stats earlier. He'd played 3 matches against Sky Striker Trickstar, and he'd won 2 of them. So clearly his deck has got a reasonable matchup there. And he's played against one ABC, which he also took down.
And you were quite surprised about that. You were like, how is this possible that Burning Abyss is suddenly winning against ABC?
Obviously, I know that Burning Abyss was once upon a time very good for taking down ABC decks, so perhaps he's got some
Maybe
tricks
he's playing
in
it
the
old
side
school, yeah. All right, guys, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Let's take you to the feature match table and get our game on. All right. And here we have the 2 players. There's the handshake. Ivailo on the left and Markus Bäckström. I love Swedish. It's very similar to German in the way that you pronounce names and stuff.
I see for certain there that Markus has begun with a copy of Sekka's Light in his hand, and that puts him in a really good position. You just start with loads of cards. You haven't had to banish anything with your Pot of Desires. Like, if Markus has won the die roll here, he looks like he's got an excellent hand to start going with if he just gets any one more Burning Abyss piece off these 2 draws.
Right. So what do you make of the statistics that Burning Abyss is only taking, is actually taking a beating from Sky Striker Trickstar? As the other guys pointed out, the deck was designed to beat that particular deck.
Oh, they should be playing it better.
Okay. So it's the fault of the players, is what we can say.
It's impossible to say for certain without seeing the matches. Sometimes, like, it's a card game. Obviously, there's luck involved, but I like to believe that.
Yeah, you can say it.
The deck should be favored.
Come on, say it. Say it. It's the fault of the players.
I played 8 Sky Striker Trickstar at Nationals,
Tom.
and I only lost 1.
I can't get him to say it. Okay. Ever the gentleman, Thomas Rose, on commentary this weekend. He's not going to say anything negative about anybody. Right. So, how clutch is it for Burning Abyss to go first? You said with his opening hand, that's really, really good.
The opening hand looked great, and then we saw the Ash Blossom from Ivailo coming down to negate that Sekka's Light, and suddenly all of that amazing plays that we were talking about might just come together, just went nowhere.
Right. But turnabout is fair play. We also saw an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring by Markus when Ivailo tried to go for it here.
Yes.
But he has ways to follow it up.
Yes. Ivailo is going to go for a big play with Phantom Skyblaster here, and fortunately for Markus, it will be met with an Effect Veiler to prevent a huge board of 6 monsters coming out straight away.
So many hand traps. You played that many hand traps as well, right?
Yes, I played with 9 hand traps in the main deck and more in the side.
Okay.
And 11 if you include Soravis as well, who sort of functions in a similar way some of the time.
Right. Sounds like a bit like overkill, to be honest.
Well, when you play a deck with Sekka's Light, you have no access to real trap cards, so you have to substitute that by playing the hand traps that you can play because they are all monsters.
You're just way too nice. I'm just waiting for you to say something like, and that is why I'm the national champion, and you are not. All right, here are the deck lists. So maybe we can take a little bit of a closer look at the particular build that Markus Bäckström went with for the Burning Abyss deck, if you approve or if you see something where you're like, oh, this makes me raise an eyebrow here.
Well, given that he's playing card for card the same deck that I played for national championships, I don't think I can really criticize it too much. There are some changes in the side deck by the looks of things, but the main deck is exactly the same as my build from nationals.
I have to say it's a pretty tough spot to be in when you're playing the exact same deck as somebody who is calling the match and he's sitting on commentary.
Oh, no, I'm mistaken. He's playing 41 cards. He's added the 3rd copy of Soravis into the main deck, and that is his only change.
All right. Does that make the deck better?
I would argue that the deck should be played at 40 because you want to have the most consistency that you can possibly get, but it's only a really minor change, so I don't think it will make a huge difference.
All right.
We see there's a Trickstar reincarnation set for Ivailo here. Whether or not he activates it could be really big. Markus has just activated Calcab in hand, and he'll banish it now for the reincarnation, along with the Blackluster Soldier that he unfortunately drew after shuffling one away. If he gets a new Burning Abyss monster, he can really start making plays.
See a cat there. One of the rescue kind.
Yes, and also a Burning Abyss monster? If so, then...
That's
oh no,
it's a
another Rhino
fiendish-
Warrior.
Ah, fiendish Rhino Warrior.
That's not what he needed to see.
Oof. Lady Luck is not shining down on Markus Bäckström at the moment. And he's not in a favorable position.
It's not looking good, but so long as Ivailo doesn't find any way into his Trickstar engine, he's forced to play a bit more slowly.
Mm-hmm. So maybe Markus does have enough time to assemble his engine.
Yes, when the Fiendish Rhino Warrior gets destroyed, it will likely send a Scarm. Scarm can fetch a Tour Guide, and that gives plays. Or even if not, simply having the Rescue Cat in hand gives access to the Gallus and the Elephant in the deck. So long as Markus can survive the turn, there is a follow-up play available to him.
Right. Almost thought that Ivailo is about to pass play, but he's not quite yet.
There's a another Phantom Skyblaster in hand for Ivailo, so just a normal summon of that will fill the board completely and give 6 monsters to start making link plays with.
Oof. It's one of those cards that is suddenly a lot better thanks to the introduction of the link monsters. And here we see it doing its dirty work.
Yeah, it really, really changed the link mechanic. A large difference there was simply being able to control 6 monsters, because previously you could only ever have 5 monster zones. So the optimal resolution for the Phantom Skyblaster would be if you control 2 monsters when you summon it and you get 2 tokens.
Right.
Now you can already control 2 and then normal summon and get the full payoff of 3 monsters, which was fundamentally impossible prior to Master Rule 4.
Right. I like fundamentally impossible. That's it's like a double whammy.
So we see Unicorn being used here to get rid of that Fiendish Rhino Warrior without sending it to the graveyard, so the effect will not trigger.
Also been in a precarious situation here. Like, one would think that you would be rooting for the Burning Abyss player, but on the other hand, he's from Sweden, and we all know what Sweden is doing at the moment.
I certainly want Burning Abyss to win because I'm such a big fan of the deck, but...
So your love for Burning Abyss is stronger than your love for your country? is that what you're saying? Okay, let's not go there.
Sweden can win here, but maybe not elsewhere.
Okay. That's fair enough, I guess.
I'm wondering whether Ivailo has pushed for the maximum damage output that he could have achieved with this turn. I don't know if he'll be able to hit 6,300, though it will be very close.
What do you think is the best strategy? I mean, of course, if you can finish your opponent, you finish your opponent. That is pretty straightforward. But second best option, is it pushing for as much damage as possible, or is it gaining as much board control as possible? Or does it...
If you can't kill, then there's not a huge advantage to getting close unless you have access to the Trickstar side of the deck and you can finish off the last bit with Licorice.
Okay.
We see Ivailo here has no Trickstar cards other than the one reincarnation that was played previously, and I don't think that there's quite enough damage there. There will be just over 4,000 from the Unicorn and the Phoenix, that's 4,100, and then the Kagari, yeah, we leave Markus with 500 life left to play. No relevant hand trap for Ivailo. The Rescue Cat can come down, but he may consolidate here to the Firewall Dragon using Unicorn and the Kagari, so that there is a piece of interaction. No, instead he opts to stick with the Co-Link.
So now Markus Bäckström has to go big or go home, at least in that first duel here.
Yeah, we'll see him summoning 2 copies of Gallus here. Naturia Beast wouldn't do anything for him at this point, so he just wants to get straight into the Dante.
It's interesting that you now have even more ways to straight go into Dante.
Yes.
Before you had Tour Guide and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, the only play that he could have considered other than that here would have been getting an Elephant and a Gallus to make a link play. He could have gone for a Nightmare Cerberus, possibly, to take out one of the opponent's monsters. Right. But no, he's good at the game, so he knows how to mill a Fiendish Rhino Warrior, send Graf and summon Seer, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's how it works, yeah. So this might be comeback time for Markus Bäckström.
I think that may have been a mistake to summon the Seer in defense position there. if he'd summoned it into attack position, I think he would have been quite in a good position to go straight to his battle phase. He doesn't want to leave an underclock taker on the field here with only 500 life.
Maybe he's not quite done yet. Well, certainly he's not quite done yet, but you don't seem to agree with that line of play.
The effect of Nightmare Phoenix, is that protection by battle for all co-linked monsters?
We can bring that up for you guys.
Yes, it's the battle protection, so he wouldn't have been able to go straight to the battle phase and take out 2 monsters, because at the moment only Kagari can be destroyed by battle.
Right.
He has put himself in a position where he can summon Beatrice here. He would be able to destroy the Kagari, but none of the others. It's curious that he didn't
He passes play.
to destroy anything. He could have used the Underclock Taker effect to reduce Kagari to 0 and attack over that monster. It's not co-linked, so it doesn't have protection from battle.
Maybe an oversight or an honest mistake.
And we see the pickup there on the Trickstar Light stage will give access to that Trickstar side of the deck. We already know that there's a Reincarnation Engrave. It doesn't look like Marcus is in a very safe position here. He does have access to Fairy Tale Snow through the effect of Beatrice, but he's going to be really relying on that one activation I think he has enough cards for in order to try and stay in this game and get to the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, 3 cards in hand for Ivailo Ivanov. You mentioned Roland Lockbird not putting in a lot of work right now. He does have an engage, which is not very helpful as soon as his monster zones aren't empty.
Yeah, Droll Lockbird is hugely underwhelming in the Burning Abyss matchup,
Right.
with so few cards that add from deck to hand.
He does have an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring now, so that's a bit more life.
Yes, the Ash Blossom being able to negate the effect of Beatrice should rule game over here.
So, well, so far it's still Ivailo's turn, and he can try and pick apart the pieces on Marcus' side of the field. Marcus is not too happy, and I think...
The Ash Blossom negates the Beatrice, there is no snow, the game is over.
Yeah, there we go. So 1-0 for Ivailo Ivanov from Bulgaria with his Sky Striker Trickstar deck. So far, so good. And again, Sky Striker doing quite well against Burning Abyss. That seems to be the trend of the weekend. Is it that the Sky Striker Trickstar players have just adapted to like expecting Burning Abyss in the field and they can play a little bit differently, or do you think it's something else?
I think we might have seen a little bit of a technical error in the play there from Marcus. Perhaps he isn't hugely well practiced with the deck. It's certainly not a deck that you can afford to be making mistakes with.
Right.
If you want to bring a rogue deck to a tournament at any level and you expect to do well with it, and Burning Abyss is absolutely still rogue. It's not the deck to beat. It's not the deck that people are expecting. It is very much like a side strategy. And if you want to play any side strategy, you already know that you're coming in at a disadvantage because you're probably not playing the strongest cards in the event. Your technical player's got to be squeaky clean.
Right. I like how you're patting your own shoulder while you're saying that. Indirectly.
Oh, my technical play wasn't squeaky clean. My opponents just didn't want to win.
Yeah. Now you're trying to backpedal here. But we already heard it. So... Okay, what's going to come in? We're going to take a look at the side decks here. We see Markus Bäckström. He's got Imperial Order, Anti-Spell Fragrance, Mind Crush, Sky Scourge.
Norras.
Yeah. Shadow Dragon. Interesting. We haven't seen that in a while. Dark Seamorg, the Winged Dragon of Raz, Fear Mode, and Vanity's Fiend.
Imperial Order, Anti-Spell Fragrance, and Mind Crush may all be like a 6-card suite he can choose to side in.
Mm-hmm.
If he does so, he needs to remember to take out the Sekka's Light from the main deck because of the interaction between Sekka's Light and other spells and trap cards. In some matches, you may consider the Vanity's Fiends going into the main, but not always a strong choice against Trickstar Sky Striker because with Engage, they have searchable outs to it.
And what would he be removing? Is it fair to assume that Roland Lockbird is just gonna make an appearance in the side deck instead?
No, Droll Lockbird is a really strong card for Marcus in that matchup.
Sorry, what was the hand trap that wasn't working? Oh, it was for Ivailo then.
Yes, Droll Lockbird will be sided out for Ivailo, but Marcus will want to keep it in because there are so many search effects for the Trickstar Sky Striker deck.
Of course. Good. Let's look at the other side deck. There we only see 5 different cards, all played in 3s.
Yes, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, not much good here. Winged Dragon and Verasphere mode, not much good here. Night Beam, not much good here. Shared Ride, doesn't do anything. Heavy Storm Duster, doesn't do anything unless he reads that the opponent will have sided into those continuous traps to try and lock out the spell and traps. But I don't think Ivailo will want to side anything. He may choose to take out the Droll and Lockbirds, knowing that they really don't perform well here, and just put in something, perhaps the Ghost Ogre as an additional out to an Interior Beast.
Right. Okay, with that, the stage has been set and we're ready for the second game.
We see the activation here of Gallus in hand, and he hits the Scarm.
Ooh, that is nice. It must feel especially nice after that first game. And look at the hand of Ivailo. That doesn't look that promising.
He has put in the Heavy Storm Dusters, expecting the metagame choice on taking out Sekka's Light for continuous trap cards. We see 2 hits there with the Gallus effects. The second one getting the Rhino Warrior. At this point, typically you would want to be sending your Graph to summon the Seer, but whilst he controls the 2 Gallus, he doesn't get huge value out of that, because anything that he summons to his side of the field as a Burning Abyss monster is just going to destroy itself immediately.
Right. Marcus did draw into Sekka's Light, by the way. I think we missed that, but it's listed under the banished cards.
Yes, he drew the Sekka's Light, and again it was hit with the Ash Blossom.
Oh, right.
So he used the secondary effect to shuffle back 1 card.
This is the part that I missed. Okay. So interesting again, with all of that disruption, it seems like sometimes it's more important to stop your opponent from comboing off rather than getting your own thing through, basically.
Yeah, there's always a delicate balance to be had there. If you know that your opponent is going to be doing things that you can't control, then you need to stop them. But if you think that your deck does more than your opponent, then forcing through your own plays is always going to be the most important thing to
now, that makes
focus
sense.
on.
Should be pretty easy enough to remember. And I think Ivailo was just giving away that he holds onto a scapegoat. The way that he held his cards in hand, he tilted it sideways. I wouldn't be surprised if Marcus Bäckström now knows that he has a scapegoat in hand at least.
Yeah, Marcus has put himself in an awkward position, choosing to bin the Calcab from his deck with the effect of Fiendish Rhino Warrior. He no longer has access to send that in the end phase and return a set spell and trap to hand for Ivailo. And I think that might have been a bit of an oversight. Typically in that position you would want to just send one of your additional Scarms from the deck to the grave, because after you've resolved the first Scarm effect, there's not a huge amount of value left to be had.
Right. So Marcus now completely out of cards.
Did Marcus use the Scarm effect?
He just discarded the Droll and Lockbird to
but in his first turn, he sent a Scarm with the very first activation of Gallus, and
yes, it is in the graveyard, but
add anything.
Yeah. That is unfortunately, that is correct. I think he missed that search.
This feels like another example of not so squeaky clean technical play.
Yeah, it seems like a couple of players picked up Burning Abyss because they heard that a masterful duelist has won a big tournament with it.
It does take a very good duelist to win a tournament with Burning Abyss.
Finally. we're getting there. Right. So and that of course would be a possible explanation why the Burning Abyss players are not doing so well. Add to that the fact that Burning Abyss has been around for 5 years or something. So if somebody's like, okay, I don't really have a deck for the event, but I heard that Burning Abyss is good again, they might not put in the hours of preparation, just pick up the deck that they know and try their best. I mean, 3-1 is not a bad record, of course. But once you're getting to those later rounds, we're playing 8 of those today, 3 more tomorrow before we continue with the top 64 portion of the event. You really need to make the most of your chances.
Yeah, I think Marcus would be in an absolutely commanding position in this match if he hadn't missed that Scarm effect on his first turn. But he's going to be struggling here. He could have had a Snow already in grave, but instead he's forced to send a second Scarm in that end phase. He may have just picked up a bit of a magic bullet on the draw for the Blackluster Soldier there. It's a hugely forgiving card of mistakes because it just does so much damage, but I don't know if he's going to be able to recover from that missed effect.
So how dangerous is the field that Ivailo is sporting right now, really? Because it doesn't look that threatening. All I see is 2 little Trickstar monsters.
The only dangerous part of it is the face-down scapegoat. If Marcus can't close out the duel here and just finish off with damage, and the scapegoat is able to flip up in the end phase, then he's in a huge trouble there, because those 4 links can have access to Borreload Dragon, have access to things like Saryuja with extra monsters in hand. We know that there's a Candina that was returned to hand. Ivailo's got options here, but Marcus needs to put on the pressure and force the scapegoat to be used as a defensive tool.
Right. So, yeah, like you said, he does have options, Ivailo, but Marcus can take away those options if he applies enough pressure. So here it is, that extremely forgiving card, as you coined it, as a second copy of it. That just gets banished. There was a time when that wasn't possible, because only one of those was legal.
Yeah, and for a good reason, really. The card is absolutely ridiculous on power level.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to his battle phase here.
He is indeed.
It's an interesting decision. I possibly would have tried to make some link plays using the Nightmare Phoenix. Put pressure on the back rows, force some activations so that if there is a scapegoat, you can take out the tokens with your battle phase, rather than doing what he's done here and pushing for a fairly trivial 5,000 damage that isn't going to seal out the game.
Right.
Oh no, I was mistaken. He's got the snow. He can at least force the scapegoat activation in the battle phase here.
So, in the end, quite a smart way of playing it, because your opponent might forget about the snow. But how important is 3 copies of 3 tokens for scapegoat? How much worse is that than the 4?
Well, I think we can expect that there might be some more interaction coming down in the main phase 2 to get rid of some additional tokens. If the graph is linked off the field, it can summon and immediately destroy a Farfa that will deal with another token. You have tools like Nightmare's Cerberus and Unicorn to take away more, and just being able to force that activation before the end phase so that you have the tools to deal with the tokens on your own terms.
Right.
Really shifts the balance here.
Well,
we see Phoenix here taking out the other back row. We know that it's a heavy Storm Duster, but it could have been a real threat.
Yep, could have been a second scapegoat as well.
Yes, not that that would have been activatable this turn.
Yeah, absolutely, but something that could have been important later on.
And the effect of Seer will be activating the Grave here to get back the Dante.
So, what was the difference maker here? You did mention that the Blackluster Soldier is a very forgiving card. What else was making a big difference here for Marcus?
For Marcus, just the power of having Snow in the Grave to be able to bait the activation of Scapegoat during the battle phase. I'm not sure what Marcus is going for here. It looks like he just used 5 links worth of monsters to summon a Borreload Dragon. That's some more interesting technical play there. He had a Link 2 and then 3 monsters in the main monster zones, and then he's used the effect of Dante to add back a monster that isn't Seer. You don't do that. That is not the way to win with Burning Abyss.
Oh my. So this line of play does not get the Tom Rose
He then
seal of
proceeded to
approval.
not activate the effect of Graph in his graveyard. He could have summoned a Farfa and removed another token completely for free, whilst adding extra materials for his Snow Engrave. He's not doing this right.
Okay, that's a very indicative statement, something that I sometimes have to bait out of you. That just tells me that you seem to be really upset with him here.
Yeah, I put a lot of time into building this deck. And I don't like seeing people play like this.
yeah. Like, this is not what I had in mind for my deck.
No.
To get defeated by Sky Striker Trickstar, something that it was designed to beat.
Yeah, it's a bit painful.
Yeah, sometimes we need reaction cameras, and instead of the player faces, we need the face of Tom Rose, guys.
We can see that Marcus has already lost here. It just takes a Lilybell attack directly, get back the Licorice, summon the Lilybell again, and attack directly. He's making an interesting line that I'm not sure about. He might have his own ideas of what to do. He could just do Borreload,
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, I've mixed up the life points there. It's Ivailo who's on very low and Marcus who's got significantly more.
Right.
So there would need to be a full Licorice loop, and the monsters on Marcus' side of the field do have too much attack for that. So I suspect we'll see Borreload to counter the Borreload.
Yeah, and Marcus is not pleased with this one. This is not how he thought that things are going to turn out. Here's the attack, and
he's activating the effect of his own Borreload to make his BLS smaller before it gets stolen.
that's smart, but ultimately not going to make a difference.
It doesn't seem that way. And I don't think that there's anything that Marcus can really get himself back into this game with here.
Yeah, he checks the card he drew.
He burned his Borreload very early on, which is typically a reactive tool that you want to use when you're...
So much for that. Wow, talk about a comeback here.
I mean, I'm kind of glad that Burning Abyss has done well, but at the same time, Burning Abyss doesn't deserve to win this game.
Oh, that's a devastating comment here from the maker himself. That is like old Geppetto abandoning Pinocchio, guys. It's 1-1 between Marcus Bäckström and Ivailo Ivanov, and we might have just lost Tom Rose on commentary because he had a bit of a stroke right there with that top deck. Quite a nice comeback for Marcus Bäckström. He's like, I don't even need all of my Scam searches and all of those other things that the Burning Abyss monsters can do.
I don't need Scam searches. Yeah. I don't need to use my effects. I don't need to use Graph. I don't need to link just 4 monsters to get my Borreload Dragon. Oh.
Yeah, so Nightmare Shark is going to be the stuff of nightmares for Ivailo Ivanov this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's like waking him up in the middle of the night. He's like, Nightmare Shark. Did you have a Nightmare Shark? And he's like, yeah. This is going to be what he's going to be dreaming about for the rest of the weekend. I cannot. Oh my gosh, this poor guy. This must feel so bad.
Yeah.
But then again, he's had flawless plays from what we could tell. Ivailo Ivanov. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not talking about Marcus Bäckström. You looked at me like I was. No. I was 100% being serious here.
Yeah, Ivailo has been playing this well. We'll go into game 3. Ivailo will get the chance to start, and we'll see. Perhaps Marcus will have had the wake-up call that he needed in that match, and he's been given a second chance here.
Yeah.
To perform as he needs to do if he wants to go on and make the top cut with this deck.
I think that is a very strong possibility here, and yeah, he's gonna be happy about this. Right, so both of these guys didn't take a lot of time to side deck. Seemed like they both knew exactly what they were going for. And we have almost 14 minutes on the clock remaining, although the clock just appears to have frozen. No, here we go. It's moving again, and we got the opening 5 for both of these. Marcus with Droll and Lockbird and Ash Blossom.
Droll and Lockbird's going to be absolutely huge on the Candina search here. So that's not only has it prevented other further search. Oh, the Called by the Grave takes it out. He's back to relying on the Ash Blossom here to prevent further plays.
Both of these guys firing from all cylinders here on their opening turn, or on Ivailo's opening turn, rather.
And now Marcus has to play through 1 Ash Blossom. What does he have in hand?
Does have a Scam, a Fiendish Rhino Warrior, a Calcap, and an Effect Veiler.
Okay.
Which you cannot drop on your own turn, we should point out, because somebody was asking about that earlier. Well, where's he going to go here?
Interesting that he chose to activate the Scam before normal summoning the Fiendish Rhino Warrior. I think possibly a better route there would have been to normal summon the Rhino Warrior and activate the Calcab, because if he at that point gets interrupted by the effect of a Trickstar Reincarnation, he's more likely to draw into a Burning Abyss monster that he hasn't yet activated.
Right.
So possibly not the optimal line, but it's worked out fine for him because he didn't end up playing into a Reincarnation, so he gets to continue his turn anyway. We see the standard play, finding the Graph for the Seer. He'll make an Underclock Taker here. Well, no, instead he goes for the option of just hitting for the 4100 damage over that Candina, get some life points on the board, and then perhaps go for the link plays in main phase 2.
Perhaps.
I hope that he does this time add back the Seer from his grave to the hand rather than some arbitrary other Burning Abyss monster.
There's a bit more encouragement now. Okay, so he needs to get his mental version of a notebook and take a couple of notes what he wants to search for in the end phase, or what effects he wants to activate in the end phase rather.
Well, he's made his turn in a very interesting manner by he's already activated the effect of Scarm in hand, so he won't be able to take a search from it. If he'd special summoned the Calcab and discarded the Scarm at the end of the turn, he would then be able to search for the tour guide. So this time, rather than having no access to Scarm, he's just added back not Seer.
This is something you don't do, is what a smart man said earlier.
Yeah, Seer and Dante looping with each other is the most important way to stay in the game. And he's put himself in a position where he can't keep that most important loop going.
Right. Maybe this is like a bit of a lesson, like for the players that want to know what makes Burning Abyss strong, so they can watch this match and they can hear great commentary that tells them what are the things that you really need to look out for. And like you just pointed out, the Seer loop, for example, is one of those things that keeps you in the game.
Yeah, it's not entirely broken at this point because you do still have the Dante under the Beatrice that will be able to get back the Seer, but it's still a much safer play to take the Seer out of your graveyard immediately. You don't want to leave it in there as a card that you might be forced to banish for snow. You just want to get it back into your hand to guarantee that you have that resource when you need it.
Right. Ivailo, on the other hand, does seem to know very well what his deck is capable of doing and how to do those things. So far, we're still waiting for a gigantic upset where we're like, okay, this is not the way this should be going. He does have almost 10 minutes remaining in the round, and he's not in the worst position here.
No, the game is still remarkably open at this point. The effect Veiler on the effect of the Unicorn might have quite a big impact there, because that's one of the few ways that the Trickstar player has the ability to remove the Beatrice from the field without triggering her effect.
Right. And we did have a couple of comments where people were saying, why didn't he get the Beatrice in attack position? Do you have a possible reason for that?
Putting the Beatrice in defense position is certainly correct. It means that you aren't at risk of losing to a Lilybell loop through attacking into it. It has more defense than it has attack is another short answer for why it can be favorable.
So there you have it, guys.
But I think Ivailo here has easy access to a Borreload Dragon, which is likely to be coming down and stealing that Beatrice.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the most surprising thing to see that right now. And you can't help but think, like, look at Marcus's expression. He doesn't seem too happy. He is taking it in. He's looking at the field, what's happening, and at his opponent, whereas Ivailo seems to be extremely focused on the game.
I think there have been some technical play issues for Marcus that if they'd been fixed, he would be winning this match.
Okay, right.
The opening that he had with Calcab and the ability to discard the Scarm would have put him in a very favorable position where he should be on top. But not everything seems to have gone right. There have been some questionable decisions along the way, and now it looks like he's on the back foot. There could still be top decks that save him here, particularly something like a tour guide or a rescue cat could really put him back into the game, but the pressure's on Marcus to find something.
Right. So there we have it. Ivailo Ivanov just cleared out the board of his opponent. Both of these players currently 3-1 in the tournament. Another win, it's going to put them that much closer to day 2. Another loss, and they are almost on the brink of getting knocked out from the tournament. Because with 2 losses, you need to win all the remaining rounds.
Yeah, I think cards in hand for Marcus here is just Seer and Scarm.
Yeah, it looks like 2 cards. Definitely, we can confirm that.
If Ivailo chooses to summon a Firewall, no, instead he's just passing on the 2 Link monsters that he has already. He could have summoned a Firewall there, adjacent to one of the Link 3s, to then have a piece of interaction for Marcus' turn.
Just gonna try and bring up the cards for you guys again. Let's see. It's suddenly empty. It's worse than before.
Oh, wow. Finish Rhino Warrior off the top will be quite a handy one for Marcus.
Yeah, there we go. Here we got all the cards again.
See the second Dante coming down, sending 3 more cards. He hits the Sekka's Light, but the 1 card in his hand is Seer, and he won't want to be shuffling that back.
Yeah. That sounds like a very fair assessment. Although we have been surprised before in this match. With 6 minutes remaining on the clock, something we need to be very cautious of. More important than ever this weekend. Could decide who is going to Worlds.
Yeah. Marcus will need to work on his play if he wants that to be him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time.
Yeah, the tournament is still young at this point.
A few more rounds. Maybe he can sign up for a training lesson in between rounds, because we all know that's the real reason why you're here. It's giving autographs and giving Burning Abyss lessons in between rounds.
Might take more than a between-round lesson.
Oh, ooh.
It looks like he's about to shuffle a Seer from his hand back into the deck.
There we go.
Okay.
I think he's coming up with new strategies for the deck. He's saying, I explored all the regular possibilities. I need to like cross some new frontiers and find some new plays for this deck. And this is his lesson for the weekend, basically. Well, there's a mind control from the top. That gets rid of a Dante that is standing in the way of win or loss. Just double checking the Dante here. But is that enough attack already? We have the Ningirsu, the World Chalice Warrior, with its 2,500
for Ningirsu. So I think Marcus could have put himself in a really strong position in the previous turn. But the way that things played out just don't seem to be working at all. I think going straight for the Dante was an oversight. Does he have the Nightmare Cerberus in his extra deck at all, or has that been cut? Okay, so no. Yes, he does have a Cerberus. He could have used a Cerberus rather than going direct for a Dante to take out one of the monsters, and then climb up into a Nightmare Unicorn to start dealing some more damage.
Right. Yeah. Is that a very complicated play, or is it like, what is the reason? Do you think it's just lack of preparation, or is it just something where he's like, okay, I know these are the go-to moves. You very often you go for a Dante and don't look back. Is it that he's just basically playing it on autopilot, and that is why he's not making the most of some of his opportunities here?
I don't really know what's going through his head. Like, there's pressure under the feature match, but there have been a lot of plays that aren't the ones I would have gone for.
Oh, by the way, we got a little comment here that Unicorn has already been used in this duel. Just gonna double check if I can find it here.
I believe that Ivailo used a Unicorn, but I don't think that Marcus has used his yet.
Yeah, I don't see him in the graveyard, guys. Which is not saying that it's definitely not there. Here, I can bring up the cards in the graveyard. Quite a few. And after that Underclock Taker, there's also an Elephant, Fiendish Rhino Warrior, Effect Veiler, Farfar, Dante Scam, and Graph.
So here, Marcus is able to get that Seer back out of the deck where it was put for some reason, to summon a Dante, push for some more damage, or don't push for some more damage, just summon it in defense. Yeah, why not? You don't want to do 1,000 damage and then have it change to defense with its own effect. Just summon it in defense.
I think he's a gentleman duelist, and that is why he's feeling like this is the fair, or more fair, or more sportsman-like way of conducting yourself here.
Yeah, We'll go with that.
Especially with 2 minutes remaining on the clock and you're behind in life points. That is something to keep in mind here as well. So at the moment it is not looking great for Sweden, whereas Bulgaria, in personified by Ivailo Ivanov, is sitting in a pretty good spot. In fact, if he just doesn't do anything else and just end his, not end his turn, just enters his main phase and finds ways to make plays for 2 minutes, he's just going to win that way, which is not a viable strategy, by the way, guys. He needs to find ways to do something. You cannot just say, hey, I'm going to take 2 minutes and do nothing. He didn't have anything, really. Is that correct? He does have a mind control in his hand. He just set the licorice, and that is that. Or am I missing something?
Yeah, he just chose to set the licorice and pass.
Right, yeah. That's what I meant. So back to Markus Bäckström, who gets another shot of turning this, turning the tides and winning this match. He's got 1 more minute, according to our clock, which might not be 100% in sync with the clock that the judges have. I'm just gonna ask about that. What they are gonna say. So he needs to advance to his battle phase for certain. He cannot afford to take time here, right?
Yeah, he needs to put some more attack points onto the field, and then he needs to get to the battle phase as quickly as possible.
Right.
I'm not sure what he's planning to summon here, but I think he's in an awful position.
Yeah, it's weird because if this match would last a little bit longer, he would be in a pretty good position.
Yeah, there are plenty of things that could have been done to guarantee a win for Marcus here.
I think you're exaggerating, my friend. If looks could kill, we would have just lost the commentator for the weekend. It's now 1,800 life points for Markus Bäckström. It's 2,700 life points for Ivailo Ivanov. He enters his turn, finally finds a way to get rid of the opposition, and that is it. Ivailo Ivanov remains on top. 4-1 is his match record. Now Markus Bäckström, after that loss, is now on a 3-2 record, and he has to really fight for this. He needs to be playing flawlessly for the rest of the day, and we're gonna keep our fingers crossed for him that he can muster up that to stay in competition and have a shot at becoming European champion and going to Worlds.
Yeah, I'd be really happy to see some Burning Abyss decks doing well this weekend. I'm hoping that we'll get some more Burning Abyss feature matches in the top cut.
Right.
Best of luck to Marcus. I hope that you can iron out some of the issues that we were having there, and maybe you'll bounce back.
Yeah, maybe you can sign up for the Thomas Rose training camp for Burning Abyss players. He's going to open that very soon. That's something that we learned during this match. Let's hear about it from our analysts. They will have a couple of things to say, so let's take you over to Luke and Matt.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much, Ollie and Thomas. We are here with Ivailo.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can call me Ivo.
Call you what?
Ivo.
That's better. I wish I'd have known that right at the start. You talk right to the end of this.
Okay.
So
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving on in the tournament, going 4-1 now.
Yeah.
So not too many more rounds to play today before we move on to day 2.
3 more games.
Yeah, three more rounds. It's easy, right?
Depends on what we draw.
When you saw you were sitting down to play against this matchup, what were you thinking? Were you worried at all, or were you very prepared for this deck?
Well, I didn't have anything in my side deck for this deck, so if he summons Vanity's thing, then I think I don't have an out to it.
Okay. Interesting.
So I got kind of lucky that he couldn't manage to summon it.
If you look at the stats for the current tournament, that you're actually favoured by 2.5% to beat Burning Abyss at the moment. So that's. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it depends on what he draws, what I draw.
Yeah.
But the last game I got kind of lucky drawing 3 cards, the exact 3 cards that I needed.
Yeah. Do you think that there was quite a lot of times where we had our commentary team who were saying, oh, the Burning Abyss player weren't necessarily playing at his best. Do you feel like he was quite nervous or something like that?
Well, before the match I talked with him, and it turns out that this feature match was first for him and for me. And so yeah, I think that we both were kind of nervous.
Yeah.
And the second game I misplayed, and I had game, but I misplaced the Candina and Lilybell, and that cost me the game.
Yeah. So I think probably both of you guys were a bit nervous during the duel. It happens quite often on the feature match, so not something to be ashamed of, and especially because you won. So
yeah,
even better. So what do you think is your worst matchup that you don't want to be playing against this weekend?
Not sure. Probably BA or True Draco, because I'm not siding evenly match.
Okay.
Right, yeah. But we got through one of the BAs.
Yeah, you got through just one of them. That's one down.
There's only 72 in the tournament.
Yeah.
How many Burning Abyss are for one?
We can check for you. I believe it's... I can't say how many are X1. I don't know if Luke has
There's
that.
78 Burning Abyss decks.
78 in total. It's
Which are
various stages.
X1
of the
or
No,
tournament.
total.
The
Yeah.
whole tournament. Okay.
So there could still be some up there. Who knows?
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Do you have any closing thoughts on that game or anything else you want to share?
The misplay I made game 2
Yeah.
with the mispositioning, and game 3, I don't know, maybe I had a little more luck than he had, so I top deck Mind Control then Lycoris.
Yeah, and then Lycoris, Mind Control.
Yeah.
That gets you there. That gets you over the line.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that's it for us for the round 5 feature match. Congratulations and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back for round 6. See you guys soon.